Hello and welcome to Update X, where I talk to you about what's been going on in video games over the past week. Uploaded every Monday morning on YouTube and podcast platforms. I'm your host, Brandon Reshitar, at The Only Rush on Twitter and basically everywhere else. Today is your update 11.1 for November 2nd, 2020, your first episode in the launch months for the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Very exciting couple weeks we have ahead of us. And on this episode, we've got a few delays that happened this week and some PS5 updates and more. Let's get into it. We're going to start with a ton of delays, but when I say a ton, it's only 4, but in the span of a week, it's actually a lot, I think. I don't think I've ever seen this many delays happen in a week time frame before. This year is delaying more and more games exponentially, it feels like. And the first one we're going to start with is Cyberpunk 2077. So it's been a huge mess so far, and the most recent date was November 19th, and now it's been moved 21 days to December 10th. And the statement on Twitter said, quote, "The biggest challenge for us right now is shipping the game on current gen, next gen, and PC at the same time, which requires us to prepare and test 9 versions of it. 9 versions being Xbox One, the One X, Series S, PS4, PS4 Pro, PS5, PC, and Stadia." That is a lot of platforms to try and test your game on. Going back to the quote, all of that while working from home. Since Cyberpunk 2077 evolved towards almost being a next-gen title somewhere along the way, we need to make sure everything works well and every version runs smoothly. We're aware it might seem unrealistic when someone says that 21 days can make any difference in such a massive and complex game, but they really do. So, something else that came up after this quote, or after this statement, apparently the next-gen and PC versions are done, but the current-gen versions are the ones that are holding it back, of course. According to an article from Push Square by Robert Ramsey, joint CEO of CD Projekt Red Adam Kaczynski said, quote, "The game is ready for the PC and runs great on the next-gen consoles, and could be shipped on the scheduled date on those platforms. However, even though the game has been certified on the current gens by both Sony and Microsoft, some very final optimization processes for such a massive and complex game require a bit of additional time." And like I said before, the road to launch for Cyberpunk has been a huge mess. And this is just another example of how cross-gen games going from current gen to next gen, and specifically launching on current gen and next gen, is a very difficult thing and creates a lot of hurdles for developers to make sure their game is ready. Because according to this, it's ready to go on next gen and PC, so it could be launched on that date, Adam Kaczynski said, which is very unfortunate that the previous generation of consoles who just don't upgrade right away, nothing against them, because some people just can't do that. Most people can't do that, actually. But it is very unfortunate that this isn't easier for developers to do right now. And their statement continues, quote, "Some of you might also be wondering what these words mean in light of us saying we achieved Gold Master some time ago. Passing certification, or, quote, going gold, means the game is ready, can be completed, and has all content in it. But it doesn't mean we stop working on it and raising the quality bar. On the contrary, this is the time where many improvements are being made, which will then be distributed via a day zero patch. This is the time period we undercalculated." So, again, them saying that the current gen versions are the ones holding it back, and those are the ones not done yet. But regardless of that, if you undercalculated the amount of time you're going to need to do this, that's fine. But when they've undercalculated 3 times now, they've delayed the game 3 times. It was supposed to launch in April, then it got pushed to September, then it got delayed to November, and now it got delayed to December. I don't have a problem with waiting longer for a game, and for a game to be delayed, because most of the time, it's for the better in every aspect. It prevents more crunch from happening, I think, and makes the game better overall because they have more time to work on it. But if you're going to keep giving new dates that your fans look forward to just to delay the game again after that, I don't understand why you wouldn't just... I mean, again, we don't know all the behind-the-scenes stuff and what's going on at CD Projekt Red, and if there's any other contributing factors to why it gets delayed leading up to the next new date they give us. But the way I see things, if you're not 1,000% certain that it's going to hit that date, don't give that date. Just delay the game indefinitely. It's much easier and much better to do it that way rather than give them a new date just to delay it again after that. Look at The Last of Us Part 2 and Halo Infinite, because earlier this year, The Last of Us Part 2 was announced that it's delayed indefinitely, and then like 2 weeks later, they gave a new date and they hit that new date. So nobody was mad about the new date because they delayed it indefinitely, so nobody got their expectations up. And then once they were fully confident in the date that they could launch the game on, they gave that new date, they hit the new date, end of story. In Halo Infinite, granted, we haven't hit that new date yet, but they just said 2021. They just said next year. So they haven't given us a specific date, which keeps everyone's expectations in check. Cyberpunk giving specific dates each and every time is very frustrating for a lot of fans. It's leaving a very sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and some people are canceling their pre-orders for this game. When they gave the new date of December 10th, a lot of people were saying, yeah, we'll see if it hits December 10th. We'll wait till next year probably, because they've given themselves the reputation of continually delaying this game, even if they're just giving new dates for it again. Personally, I just don't think that's the right way to go about it, but this is not my decision to make or any of the fans' decisions to make, so we kind of just have to roll with it. And if you've been following all the crunch updates about Cyberpunk, you know initially it was said that there would be no crunch on the game, and then recently they implemented 6-day work weeks to crunch, essentially. And last week, Adam Kaczynski said that the crunch isn't that bad and never was, which then flipped again a few days ago, where Kaczynski said he didn't mean to comment on the crunch, but still did, and that he did it in a demeaning and harmful way. So, again, it's all a massive mess and only gets more confusing as time goes on. It's really unfortunate, especially considering how much of a beloved game this is leading up to be and how many people want this game more than any other right now. And hopefully the game gets out on that December date, so just maybe the devs can get closer to a point where they can just rest for a while. But it's been such a mess, and I wish this game all the success in the world for everything that it's gone through. I also am planning on picking it up, but I'm not picking it up day one because I want the next-gen version, which isn't going to be ready right away. So I won't be playing this game on the December 10th date if that's the date it actually hits. And another delay we got this week was Destruction All-Stars, which was initially supposed to launch with the PS5 on November 12th, but it's now releasing in February, and it will also be included with a PS Plus membership for 2 months. So they haven't stated that there's any kind of development reason for the game being delayed, and I don't think there is, because I think instead the developers or the publisher got smart. And if you don't know what this game is, it's a kind of a multiplayer demolition derby kind of thing where you can run around on foot and you have different characters and abilities and stuff like that. It sounds cool, and I actually was very interested in it when I first saw the trailer, and I was 100% planning on getting the game. But then I saw the game was going to be $70, and personally, I feel like this game should have been more of a $40 or $50 game. And since it was going to launch at $70, I was not planning on picking up this game anymore because I think that's a bit much for this game. And a lot of other people probably thought the same thing, and I think the developers or publisher realized that that's kind of a high price point for this game in most people's minds. And the other reason for delaying this game that hasn't been stated but is a safe assumption is that there's so many other big budget games coming out at the same time in this launch window, aside from this whole story I'm talking about of a bunch of launch games getting delayed. But a lot of other big budget games coming out for $60, $70, and then there's Destruction All-Stars, which seems like a $40 or $50 game, launching at $70. So I think that's probably what they got smart about, and their reasoning for delaying the game and putting it on PlayStation Plus. So this way it's not launching next to all those heavy hitters, and PS Plus members will get it for free for 2 months, meaning you have 2 months to claim the game, not that it's only free for 2 months. Once you claim the game, it's just like every other PlayStation Plus game. You have the game as soon as you claim it, anytime in that 2 month time frame. So that's going to massively help the player base for this game, because why not just check it out? Even people that aren't interested in it, that just like to claim PS Plus games just so they have them, it's really going to help this player base. The same thing happened with Rocket League. The same thing happened with Fall Guys. Granted, I don't think Destruction All-Stars is going to hit that level or get that close to that level, honestly, but it is going to massively help. And it makes me excited to think of the potential for this game with this decision. I think it was a very good choice, and it's going to lead to a lot of benefits for it. And also a side note about PS Plus games, Bugsnax was also revealed to be included with PS Plus in November for PS5 owners. So PlayStation Plus members that have PS5 in November will be able to claim Bugsnax for free, which is pretty cool. If you were planning on getting Bugsnax on PS4, you will not get it on PS Plus. This is just for the PS5 version of the game. I wasn't really planning on playing this one, but now I might just because it's on PS Plus. So I guess good for them on that one. They got me now. And another delay that we got, Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six Quarantine, both delayed to the 2021-2022 fiscal year. And again, this one is because of COVID-19 and working from home and all that. The new release window is anytime between April 2021 and March 2022. So Far Cry 6 was initially supposed to launch in February 2021. So there's potential for the delay to not be too terribly long, but we're not sure yet because we just have a year-long time frame for that. And after seeing all these delays, the launch month for the new consoles, being November, has gotten a lot lighter on games, which is good and bad. Good because we won't have so many games that we're trying to play at the same time, which inevitably leads to not getting to a lot of the games that we really wanted to check out because there's just too many. But the bad thing is we have to wait longer for the games we did want to play. And to list out all the games that have been delayed out of the launch time frame that I can recall, we've got Halo Infinite, Cyberpunk 2077, Deathloop, Kena Bridge of Spirits, and Destruction All-Stars now. It has really lightened the load of launch games very quickly, and it's interesting because with the good side of this, as I said months ago, is I don't know how I'm going to play all the games I want to play this holiday. So kind of a coin flip on this one of good and bad, but again, COVID-19, and this probably isn't even close to the last game we're going to see this on because even games that were about halfway through development and even some games that we don't even know about yet are probably delayed because of COVID-19. So this is far from the end of these delays, I think. And the next story after that, PS5 got more pre-orders in 12 hours than the PS4 got in 12 weeks. So this is from an article on IGN by Wesley LeBlanc. Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan spoke to Reuters about the consumer demand for the PS5 and said, quote, "The demand as expressed by the level of pre-order has been very, very considerable." Ryan said that Sony pre-sold as many PS5s in the first 12 hours of pre-orders in the US as were sold in the first 12 weeks of pre-orders for the PS4. That is an insane comparison. 12 hours, not even a day, half a day, to 12 weeks, which is however many days that is, like 84 days compared to half a day, is insane. We don't have specific numbers for pre-orders or anything. This is just a quote from Jim Ryan. And personally, I didn't know the PS4 pre-order numbers because I wasn't this into the industry as I have been this year. I wasn't this into it at that time. But I didn't think the PS5 would, compare this high compared to the PS4. Especially right now before the console is even out. It's insane. The level of interest and amount of people getting into the games field and playing video games in general, especially now with COVID-19, has increased a lot as it increased over the years anyway. And the whole thing's insane. And unfortunately, not everyone who wants to get one may be able to get a PS5 at launch, judging by the supply and demand we've seen so far, because as soon as the pre-orders went live the first time, immediately sold out. Every time stores get more pre-orders, immediately sold out again. And I am really glad I got a PS5 pre-order from Amazon. I'm really hoping it makes it here on November 12th. I don't know if it's going to. It might take a couple days after that. Hopefully it doesn't take like a week or anything because I just want my hands on it, which is selfish and first world problems, I know, but I'm really hoping it gets here on the day. And the next story after that, we've got the Halo Infinite director left the project. And this is an interesting story that has a few different bits of information that kind of play into it that kind of should give you the whole story instead of... There's a lot of articles out there that are giving one side to the story and making things seem like they are a different way from reality. But the IGN article I'm getting this from is by Matt T.M. Kim, And the most recent project director, Chris Lee, has left, saying, quote, "I have stepped back from Infinite and I am looking at future opportunities. I believe in the team and I'm confident they will deliver a great game, and now is a good time for me to step away." So just like Cyberpunk 2077, what a long, crazy road to launch it's been for Halo Infinite. And so, because this game is supposed to come out on November 10th with the next generation Xbox consoles, and if you don't remember, creative director for Halo Infinite Tim Longo left 343 in 2019, followed by lead producer Mary Olsen, so there have been multiple departures late in development. And I'm no developer, but from what I've heard in more educated conversations about this, is this late in development, it isn't as bad as it sounds when someone in one of those positions leaves, since most of the vision is already planned out and most of the direction as their job is mostly done, or should be. And it is still scary to see regardless on, again, such an ambitious title having, I guess, big positions in the development leave. And also, Halo veteran Joe Staten now leads the single-player campaign development, and Pierre Hintz is leading multiplayer. And I think the last couple of months for Halo fans in general has been insane. After the announcement of Halo Infinite being delayed, there has been kind of a drought on new information for the most part, other than potentially negative stories, which really wears down the fans after a while. There have also been talks of 343 charging microtransactions for color customization in Infinite multiplayer, but there are a lot of unknowns for that information, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. I just remember seeing, I think it was some kind of, I don't think it was a monster deal, but some food product or something like that where you buy it and you can unlock a code for a customization thing in Halo Infinite, and in the fine print it said valued at $5 or whatever it was, and it was just like a purple customization thing is what I've heard. Again, I didn't get too deep into it because I don't want to give too much attention to that potentially misleading story, but that's been going around, and I think that would be a very bad direction for Halo to go in the future, but isn't totally surprising considering they said Halo Infinite's multiplayer will be free to play, which leaves a lot of room for microtransactions to exist, unfortunately, and hopefully it's not as bad as it's starting to seem, but we're going to have to wait a while still. I just want Halo Infinite to be a fun Halo game to play with friends. Fun gameplay, variety of combat scenarios, a good story. I just want a good Halo game, as do the rest of the Halo fans. It's been such a long, rocky road for this game, and we all want it to succeed. Nobody wants it to, well, I'm not going to say nobody, but most people and all the fans just want it to succeed. And we just need a good Halo that's fun to play. I do have faith that it will be good, though, either way. This isn't me saying it's over and it's going to suck. The gameplay we saw in that first gameplay trailer did look like fun to me, so I am actually very hopeful for it. And going on from that story, we've got 9 of Ubisoft games won't work on PS5. Apparently there may have been error or not totally correct information in that article, because recently some of the articles on this have been taken down. But I'm assuming this is true, but I'm not sure what discrepancies Ubisoft said there were. They just said there might have been some misinformation or inaccurate information, I guess. But if this is true, it looks like the list of 10 PS4 games that aren't compatible isn't the full list. Ubisoft recently stated that most of their games will be backwards compatible on the PS5, but there are a few exceptions. Again, this article was deleted, but this is the information that was up at the time. These games will not be playable on PlayStation 5. Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Assassin's Creed Chronicles Trilogy Pack, Assassin's Creed Chronicles India, Chronicles China, Chronicles Russia, Risk, Star Trek Bridge Crew, Werewolves Within, and Space Junkies. Thankfully, most of this list is smaller titles anyway, aside from Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which some people are upset to see that wouldn't be backwards compatible. But this announcement just goes to show that PlayStation's post earlier in October, I think it was, showing only 10 games that won't be backwards compatible for PS5 isn't complete. But Sony has stated that 99% of the PS4 games are backward compatible with the PS5. So I don't think announcements like this one from Ubisoft will be too common. But something else new about games on PS5, 2 more games have been added to the PS Plus collection. And if you don't know what that is, the PS Plus collection is a pretty great list of games that defined the last generation of gaming on the PS4. and all of those games will be free for PS5 owners that have a PS Plus membership. Just recently, the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy and Black Ops 3 Zombies Chronicles Edition were added to the list, making it that much better. The full list now looks like this: Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Infamous Second Son, Ratchet & Clank, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Until Dawn, Uncharted 4, Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Black Ops 3 Zombies Chronicles Edition, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat X, Persona 5, and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. So if you are getting a PS5, you owe it to yourself to go at least take a look at all these games, specifically the ones you haven't played before or never got a chance to, and just check out some of these games because they are fantastic and definitely deserve a playthrough. For me, I'm going to be getting Days Gone and probably The Last Guardian, and I'm going to get Black Ops 3 for the Zombies mode because I never played Days Gone or The Last Guardian, but I've heard very good things about both of those. So, PS Plus Collection, fantastic deal, specifically for players that didn't have a PS4 or just missed this last generation in general. They have all these fantastic games that they can go through, that they just get this huge collection that they can just start downloading and playing all those games. It is really good to see, and I'm very happy more people are going to get to experience those games that may not have without this collection. And we've got some new PS5 info from the hands-on previews. So we still don't have a whole lot, as we still have yet to reach certain embargoes, which I'm sure will come up as soon as this podcast episode goes live, because that's the way the gaming world works. But we have heard a bit about the DualSense, trophies, and Astro's Playroom. So I've been seeing talks from Greg Miller, Blessing Adeoye Jr., Jeff Keighley, Paris Lilly, and many others who got the console early. And the part that has excited me the most is definitely the thoughts on the DualSense controller. It has been very highly praised, specifically the haptic feedback so far, and being able to tell what surface you're walking on based on the rumble in the controller, like walking on metal or ice, wood, sand, and things like that, which is very exciting to see. I cannot wait until I get my hands on this controller and actually feel all those things like the haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and all that stuff. This is a next-gen controller, and PlayStation, even with the PS4 and the touchpad, or with the PS3 and the 6-axis kind of, motion controller kind of deal, PlayStation, each gen, has added some kind of gimmick, I guess, if you want to call it, and sometimes it doesn't exactly play out, but they're the ones who are implementing new features into the controllers, and the DualSense is a next-gen controller, and I'm very excited to get it. There's been less talk about the adaptive triggers so far, but that could also be another embargo thing that hasn't reached yet. And one thing people still aren't allowed to talk about is how loud or quiet the PS5 is, and how hot it could get. We will most likely hear more about it this week. We will hear more about it this week. I'm just assuming it's going to be the volume of the console and the heat I think we're going to hear about this week. But from certain hints I think they've been dropping, it is very, very quiet. And one more thing that's been talked about is the trophies on PlayStation 5. To compare them to PS4, PS4 trophies take a screenshot when you get a trophy to capture the moment you got it. And on the PS5, it records, I think the numbers were about 8 seconds before and about 8 seconds after you get the trophy, so you can see the full moment, which is really cool, I think. It is a great addition that will lead to many more people sharing cool gaming moments with their friends. I think it's a really good thing. And quick reminder, as of the day this podcast episode goes live, we are only 10 days away from the PS5 launch, and I am so excited for this next gen. It's insane. The suspense is killing me. I cannot wait for all the cool new experiences we're all going to have with next gen, Xbox or PlayStation. I don't care. Next gen is going to be incredible with the new things developers are going to be able to do with games, the visuals, the load times with the SSDs, everything. I'm very excited for this. I'm thinking about it all day, every day, essentially. And except for the news stories going on to gaming deals, Xbox's games with gold for November are Origami, November 1st through the 30th, Swim Sanity, November 16th to December 15th, Lego Indiana Jones, November 16th to the 30th, and Full Spectrum Warrior, November 1st through the 15th. And there are 4 days left in the Xbox Watch Dogs Legion hack sale, so probably ending November 6th-ish. That's up to 70% off games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Far Cry 5, Rainbow Six Siege, and more. PlayStation's PS Plus games for November are Middle-earth: Shadow of War, Hollow Knight Voidheart Edition. Get that game. I absolutely love Hollow Knight. I'm definitely going to pick that up on my PS5. And Bugsnax. But again, Bugsnax is only the PS5 version for free. So pick that one up once you get your PS5 in November. And PlayStation's deal of the week is 30% off FIFA 21, both the Ultimate Edition and Champion Edition. That deal ends November 5th. You can also get Madden NFL 21 for 33% off on PS4 until November 5th. And PlayStation has a Planet of the Discount sale ending November 21st with up to 70% off games like My Hero 1's Justice 2, Tekken 7, Metal Gear Solid 5, and more. You can get $5 off the roguelike game Hades on Nintendo Switch, that really good one everyone's been talking about. That deal ends November 5th. And going on to upcoming releases via Metacritic, Bakugan Champions of Vestroia releases November 3rd for Switch. Jurassic World Evolution Complete Edition releases November 3rd for Switch. Dirt 5 releases November 6th for PS4 and Xbox One. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered releases November 6th for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Descenders releases November 6th for Switch. Pokemon Sword and Shield Expansion Pass releases November 6th for Switch. And going on to what have I been playing? Not that much this week. I've been ridiculously busy with a few things. I've been trying to play Ghost of Tsushima Legends on my new LG C10 OLED that I got last week because I need to see how that game looks on that TV. And I've actually been thinking about getting back into Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 1 because I really miss Battlefield games. I've spent so much time on those games over the years. I love the combat and the multiplayer in those games. And I've also been talking to a few friends about running through the Halo campaigns in co-op because it's been forever since I've done that. So that would be really cool. Plus, I really want to see how good Halo 2 Anniversary looks on an OLED TV with 4K HDR. That would look incredible. So I really want to check that out this week if I can. So this has been your update 11.1 for November 2nd, 2020. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube or for listening on podcast platforms. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and podcast feed so you don't miss an episode. Follow the show's page on Twitter and Instagram at UpdateXShow, and my personal Twitter page at TheOnlyRish. Again, we're about 8 days away from the Xbox Series X and S launch. We're 10 days away from the PS5 launch if you're watching this episode day one. Very exciting couple weeks we have ahead of us. I'm so happy for gaming as a whole and the community. So thank you again for listening. Have an awesome week.